Evidently this spring is a time for everything to break down on me. First, a couple weeks ago, I hit a deer in my pickup, which you guys watched me fix, and now my daily driver for the summer is down. Wait till you guys see what's wrong with this. Last fall on a drive around the Mississippi, my clutch started chattering and the pedals stuck really close to the floor. I assumed it was wear, so I adjusted the master cylinder. This car has an adjustable master cylinder to bring the pedal up higher. And that must have been the wrong thing to do because I overextended the clutch, I felt a big pop under the pedal, and I assumed I broke the hydraulics. So I replaced the slave cylinder, and as you can see, it was straight rust that came out of it. Not exactly sure how I get rust when the master cylinder and slave cylinder is both plastic, but I managed to. After I replaced it, I got in it and I had a little bit of a clutch pedal again, but now this thing sounds like this. So needless to say, whatever's broke in the clutch or transmission, when the clutch is in, puts so much load or resistance on the motor, the starter can hardly turn it over. I have no idea what we're gonna find, but let's dig in and hope we find something. I guess we'll start from the top and work our way down. There's those. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take the rest of this center console out so I can get this shifter boot off. I don't know what I used for RTV, but one thing's for sure, it was not going to leak. That was on there, holy cow. And when you're in here, you should always inspect this little cup here. And this one's still in really good shape. We're going to leave that. Now I just got to see if I can get this dang drive shaft out. It usually goes good until I get to the drive shaft loop. All right, I think wedging that in there might do it for me. Oh yeah. See if we can fish this. Perfect. The plan now is I think I have enough room for my Y pipe to get the transmission out. But what we'll do next is we'll take off this slave cylinder. Then we're going to disconnect the bell housing from the transmission itself. It should come out like so. Pull this aluminum piece off just to get out of the way. Oh, wow. Look at all that. So remember when I said I thought that the pressure plate was hitting? Yep. Well, I think we're on the right track. After seeing that, we're definitely going to have to pull the transmission out. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we need to unclip everything. Go ahead and put the transmission jack under here. Now we can take the cross member off. I'm going to have to hang it down just a little bit in order to get to all these bell housing bolts. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take these out because I'm not going to be able to reach them when the transmission jack's under there. Let's go ahead and take this cross member off. Just hang it down a little bit. Let's go put this someplace I'll forget it. Strap around this without hooking up to the wiring would be ideal. And with a little wiggle, I need to go up this a little bit. There we go. Now we need to go down a little bit. Oh, wow. Wait till you guys see what's wrong with this. I'm just gonna send it. Hope for the best. What do you think? I think we had a throwout bearing failure. That is gnarly. Still spins nice. Maybe I can weld that back on. Kidding. We'll throw a new one in it. Here's where we're hitting on that pressure plate all the way around. Smacked my head pretty hard unbolting that bell housing from the transmission. I'm going to go ahead and pull the bell housing off this. And that way we can get the clutch off and see how bad it really is. And the reason why I take the transmission off the bell housing instead of unbolting it all in one, for one, it gives me a little bit more to play with getting that out. But this bolt right up here, man, it always presses up against the housing. We're going to dent that in before we put that together because that's just a battle. surprises me that these are Allens. Usually they're bolts. Flywheel doesn't really look that bad. Still see machine marks in it. And all of these dark spots are actually rust from when this thing was sitting prior to me putting it back together years ago. Even the disc is looking pretty darn good. This also has all those rust pits. I'm still gonna put a clutch in it while I'm here, mainly because I'm here and I already bought one. But that thing does not look that bad. I think that if you just scuffed up that pressure plate and the flywheel, you'd be fine to go. I mean, I think. There is one thing though I noticed, and I'll show you. So this is what it had in it for pressure plate bolts. Just regular Allens. There's nothing fancy about it. If I come over to these ones here, these can only screw into the pressure plate so far. And these are factory ones. So I'm just wondering if something was going on with this setup. The bummer of it is I lost one of these and I only have 5 and I need 6. So I might just have to clean all this area up and hope that I find them, because that's a pretty specific bolt. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the rear main seal out of this. Usually I just take this flathead out, I tap it up in there until the seal distorts, and then I can just pop it right out. The parts store didn't have a rear main seal for an LT1 car, but they had one for like a 98 Chevy pickup. So I'm hoping that they're the same. We'll see. Different part numbers, but I mean, I want to get this thing together this weekend. These wires are just forever going to be in my way. So this thing comes with a little installer, just kind of like the LS ones do. Plastics can go right over that. So we can't get this pushed in just a little bit. Well, that looked like it'll work. Now this thing's getting a new flywheel. And one of the reasons why it's getting a new flywheel is because it was going to cost me just as much to turn one when I called all the machine shops than it was just to put a new one on it from Rock Auto. And it's got to be good, engineered in the USA. Definitely not made, but engineered. Now, of course, we got to torque these things. So I'm going to do them in 3 steps. We'll do like 20, 40, I think it's 74. Those are all torqued. Got to give us a good old rinse here. I'm not going to put a new pilot bearing in this. I put a new one in 2018. You've seen the clutch was actually pretty good shape. That pilot bearing's not too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and continue running that one. I'm putting a stock replacement clutch in this, and I'm going to be right honest with you. It probably needs something a little more than that, given the power it's making. But because of what I use this car for, I'm really not that worried about it. It's not like I'm really doing hard pulls after hard pulls with it. Not just that, you know I'm cheap. And even though this says Napa, it is a Luck clutch. I just happened to run onto these on Rock Auto on clearance, and I think I paid like $45 for this. And I can't say no to that. Same thing. Spray this down. Wipe all that rust preventative off of it. Should be a disc in here somewhere. There it is. But before we can get carried away with the disc, let's go ahead and put together this throwout bearing. So this flange is what ripped off of mine. It does have a new retainer ring in it. And this throwout bearing should come right through this. They have little notches for it. Put that one through there. There we go. Perfect. That was way harder than what it needed to be. So I use this monster tool. Had it for a while. I should go on there just like so. So this is a good spot to show you what I found out here. So this is what was in the car. And you just see it's a regular Allen hardware. They had a lock washer on it. And it's a little bit longer than what a stock one is. This is a stock one. Now I want to talk to you about what I found, because I'm like, well, can I just use these? And what ends up being is that these are conical. So this is actually designed just like your conical lug nuts. It's designed to locate that pressure plate and center it on the flywheel. That way everything's in a line, you don't have any vibrations, and it doesn't hurt the engine for its engine balance. So I'm not going to run these. Bad news is I only had 5 of these and I need 6. Good news for me, I have a friend, Matt, that you guys hear me toss some crap to every once in a while on here. and he has one sitting on his bench I'm going to go rob a bolt out of. The good news for him is I'm just going to replace him with some ARPs. I want to get this thing on the road this weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend, guys. I got to get this thing driving. I need to go get ice cream in it or something. T-tops off, mull it out, or, well, you get the point. I've talked about this in some previous videos. I don't run any Loctite on my pressure plates, mainly because the entire pressure plate acts like it's a lock washer. It has spring load behind it. So even though it has that tapered design to center the pressure plate, you still will need to have an alignment tool because you're trying to align the disc that's in the middle of there to the pilot bearing. And we're doing this as even as we can, even though we're missing one bolt here. Well, that's as far as I can go right now until I get that single bolt. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the transmission up, get it where it's a little bit less grimy from that rear main seal leak. And then as soon as that's all cleaned up and I get that other bolt, we'll throw the transmission back in it. Alignment tool goes in and out like it should. Went and stole a bolt from Matt. Thing's torqued down to 22 foot-pounds. Then I cleaned up the bell housing. We got 6 bell housing bolts we got to get in there. Got to use our super long extension. Makes things super easy. I like to do bell housing bolts by hand. I feel like it gives you a better sense if things are binding up or not. If you do them by impact and you don't catch it, you can easily end up breaking an ear. Now it's time to get this thing back in there. Spent some time washing it up. That rear main just kind of made things a mess. We attempted to fix this thing without pulling the transmission. And what I did was I swapped out the slave cylinder. Well, I felt like that was probably the issue. The old slave cylinder was full of that rust, as I showed you at the beginning of the video, and it just didn't fix it. A little tight quarters with the exhaust on it here, but we could get it out, so hopefully we can get it back in. And now we just need to get that input shaft right into that pilot bearing, which we're close there, so we can't get it to slide forward. Oh, look at that. Transmission's mated back up to the bell housing. Just need to get some bolts in here so the transmission jack will come out from underneath it. Safety straps off. We should be able to lower this down a little bit. I'm not going to go all the way because we're going to need to put the transmission cross member on it. Now this part seems to fight about everybody. This fork has to slide up on that throwout bearing, and it just kind of, a lot of people, they get it out here and they start pushing up and it won't go in. The key is you got to push it back as far as you can. That way it can go up into that so it's flat. Right? So you can't push it up when it's like this. You got to push it back to where it's as flat as it can go. Then it'll come up like this. Right in there. Now we need to run our wiring back here. I need to go across the transmission. And then on these ones, we got our speed sensor. Just like that. Next thing, it's kind of hard to see, but at the end of this, it needs to go right in the dimple of that. That's important to make sure you get, otherwise you will not be making it work, I promise you. Get this thing tightened down, torqued. Cross member time. That little helper nut started. There we go. I feel like breaking the law today, so chrome socket it is. Huh. Still good. Good news, it's back on the ground, but I guess the big test is you're going to see if it starts without dragging on the flywheel. Well, that was a lot easier. Oh, that's cool. Check this out. I guess that's why you got to silicone the shifters on, which you should probably do. Let's see if we can get this thing up and down the road. No clutch chatter. I like it. Well, there's one gear. Thing's moving pretty good. So I guess that wasn't as bad as what I thought it was. That's a win for me. But it feels good to be driving this again. This thing's been down for about a month. No more chatter like the other clutch. Everything actually seems smoother, so I wonder if those pressure plate bolts being wrong actually did cause a little bit of a vibration and some of the symptoms it was having prior to losing the hydraulics. We're going to keep putting some miles on this. We're heading down right now to put some corn in it. And as soon as we fill it up with E85, hopefully everything goes smooth on the way home and we should be ready to go. It's nice to have this daily driver back. They made it back home. I'm thankful that's all it was, really, was that bad throwout bearing. And while we're there, of course, we put a clutch in it. Now it has an exhaust rattle I need to fix. I have a couple other cheap upgrades I'm gonna do to this car. But to tell you the truth, I'm just happy my air-conditioned daily driver is back rolling again. I'm really hoping that my bad luck is coming to an end, because it has been one heck of the last couple months. In fact, it's going so great that, as you can see, I'm a little rashed up. I just fell off a ladder, so slid out from underneath me. I'm just not faring too well, but that's all right. We just got to keep our heads up and keep moving along. I really appreciate each and every one of you following along, even with these smaller things that I'm doing right now, not just the big builds. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.